One of my favorite things in the whole world is to travel, to go here and there and up and down and all around. I love it. And I love, 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 love taking other people on journeys. There was this one time we were in India and I had been camping on the banks of the river for 8 weeks with 100 million other people. 100 million. It was pretty busy if you walked outside our ashram. It was busy. But I'd been there for 8 weeks, and so you sort of get used to But then we had a storm, like we had this massive storm. The clouds came through, they were grey, and the storm came through and the tent collapsed and there were 100 of us in the tent, 100. And we had this ceremony. We had this ceremony where we had 50 Vedic priests chanting the Vedas, and they were in a long line. It was like dueling banjos, but one line would sing the Vedas and the other one would sing back, and it was amazing. And then there'd be this guy walk through with a broom and push the water off, and it would go down and dump on someone, and then the clouds would roll in and there was rain, and it didn't bother me a bit. It didn't bother me a bit. The people that had come a few days earlier, like they'd only been there 2 or 3 days, it bothered them a lot. They were still getting used to 100 million other people and eating with your hands on the ground, like sitting on the ground and eating with your hands. And I looked at them and they're all panicked, and I thought, oh, I could do something about that to help them. This culture shock. There are differences, you know. There are differences between Australians and Americans. And for the most part, it doesn't really matter. For the most part, it doesn't really matter. And in Australia, this last 12 months, we've had not 1, not 2, but 3 extreme weather events in the last 12 months where it just rained and rained and rained and rained, and flooding here and flooding there and flooding here and flooding there and flooding. And we're in the middle of the South Pacific anyway, and we only have a population of 25 million people, and flooding here and fires and pestilence and everything and lockdown. Did you know it costs $40,000? $40,000. $40,000 to get 1 pallet of food delivered to the centre of Australia. That's like 4 by 4. Like, I'm not sure if that's 4 cubic meters or what, I don't know, but 1 pallet, $40,000. And so our options are not extensive. Like, they're not extensive. $40,000. People complained on my last trip that there were no chips with their sandwiches. There were no chips. And I said, I know that you have that in the US, that you have chips with your sandwich. You even get half a sandwich with half a bowl of soup and a packet of chips. I know. I said, that's not an Australian custom. We don't eat chips with our sandwiches. The complaint, you didn't have chips with your sandwiches, went all the way to head office. There's no freaking chips with my sandwiches. I'm going to die. But here's the thing. It's amazing that she remembered that she eats chips with her sandwiches because she couldn't hold information about the length of the flight, even in her mind, even though I told her 5 times. It's 3 hours. Every flight we do in Australia is 3 hours. Every flight we do in Australia is 3 hours. Every flight we do in Australia is 3 hours. No, we don't have chips with our sandwiches. No, we don't. And we don't eat lamb, and we don't have a lot of tropical fruit because the floods knocked out our fruit bowl. And yes, it is a lot of miles because it's a big freaking country. Are you going to fly from Atlanta to New York and then to Denver and back again? Are you going to do that on a holiday? Do you really do that on a holiday? Because that's what you've said yes to when you're coming here. But you also get to see 5 World Heritage listed areas and you get to see wonders of the world, and you get to go. And I even teach them a song, and I surprise them. I actually teach them an Australian song, and I surprise them, and I organize for them to sing the song in the opera house. They get to sing in the opera house. They get to sing in the Sydney Opera House. I'm kind of losing my desire. Certainly, AC, I am losing my desire, AC, to take a certain group of people around Australia.